Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, Gungans and droids across the galaxy. Oh, you're too kind. Calm down, I get it. The video gaming division here at the Galactic Empire has successfully completed Conquest hard mode in day one. Oh man, it was quite a fun stream. Card in the top right hand corner. If you want to see the whole entire Conquest run in one day to get max crate, check it out. But what I want to do in this video today is a few things. I want to talk about whether or not you should pick normal mode or hard mode, but more specifically, what I really want to spend a lot of time on is a strategy we came up with the data cards. I don't care if you have no Galactic Legends. If you use these data cards, you are going to unlock unlimited power and potential, and it kind of feels like you're hacking and breaking the game. But besides having access to great data cards, which we will break down, it is also extremely important to make sure you have your roster modded. So be sure to hit up Pimpo. Pimpo has been talking a big game about how mods are going to really help you out in Conquest, and I can definitely vouch for that. Besides data cards, getting a lot of the work done. Mods. We had to remod a few times for a lot of the battles because we tried not using Galactic Legends that much to get to the max crate in between mods and, more importantly, data disc. That's going to be the recipe for success in this game. But here's what the max crate is looking like for hard mode right here. We got our 44 Razor Crest shards. We got a variety of relic pieces. We have those relic 8 arrow magnifiers, which are only normally inside the rank crate, or those occasional packs that show up. So here's the rewards that we're looking at. But what I want to do before we get into the gameplay and showing you some broken combos with the data disc leading to unlimited merciless massacre with Darth Vader and unlimited buffs and back-to-back turns of Grandmaster and so many other combos, I want to take a quick peek at these rewards over here because I got a ton of questions yesterday during the stream. Arnold, should I go for normal mode or should I go to hard mode? And I was very reluctant to give a straight out answer because I needed to do hard mode first before I can give an honest opinion. But after completing it, it's definitely going to be a bearable game mode. You don't need a massive roster, but you will need a lot of solid data cards, which we'll break down in a moment. But the long story short is, if you are someone that was able to max out normal rewards inside of the Conquest game mode, if you feel like that was pretty easy, as long as you get tier 1 rewards inside of hard mode, as we see with this lovely graphic provided by Cyber Joe, I'll leave a link down below so you can do the comparison yourself. So long as you can get the first crate inside of hard mode, which doesn't seem all that difficult, more or less, the rewards are going to be the same, but tier 1 rewards inside of hard mode are going to be looking a little bit better. Even the gear is practically the same as well. So this is the first thing I want to bring up here because I got so many questions, and I honestly think if you're able to max out normal mode, you're going to be at least able to get the first tier inside of hard mode. Let's go ahead, start rolling some footage here now that we got that out of the way, because I want to start talking about my biggest tips to help you get as many rewards as possible in Conquest, and I am dead set on this right here. I want to show this gameplay first before we start breaking down the data cards I utilized here. Well, this is the last boss, Relic 8, Jedi Master Luke in hard mode, and Darth Vader has unlimited merciless massacre. Once Vader gets a turn with these data cards on Vader and many other teams, the opponent will never, ever take a turn again. I felt like I was hacking the game. I literally feel like this is what Conquest is about: breaking galaxies, unlocking the highest potential possible in a character that we have not seen anywhere else in the game. And as you see, no Galactic Legends, just Vader with some Night Sisters, just so we don't lose any banners in case a sister dies. They get revived by the zombie, for example. And look, Master Luke getting absolutely destroyed by the beloved Darth Vader. And I was getting so many questions while people are coming in and out of our streams. They're like, what the heck are you doing? How are you doing this? Data cards are going to be the answer. Let's pull up the data cards that I was using in this gameplay. You're going to see a variety of stuff. We'll talk more about other teams, but you're going to see Vader, for example, Padme Amidala, Grandmaster, heck, even Cara Dune was getting unlimited back-to-back AoE turns. A lot of crazy stuff happening here. Now, of course, one of the biggest problems of Conquest is the data cards you're going to come across are a bit random, but hopefully throughout your run, you're going to see some of these and put them together, and I firmly believe these are going to be the best data cards for you to add to your roster because they allow you to get back-to-back turns with characters that have back-to-back turn capabilities already, but taking it to the next level by constantly reducing their cooldowns. And as they're gaining buffs and reducing their cooldowns, they're increasing their mastery and increasing their offensive damage output. I mean, look at the gameplay you're watching right now. we had Vader with leftover characters that weren't doing anything. Sidious, Imperial Super Commando, Garcex, and they're just sitting there, and Vader's carrying the battle all the way through. That is what Conquest is about with a small roster. You need solid data disks to make key characters carry the Conquest run for you. You don't need a big roster per se, but you do need some solid data disks. And here's what we have right here. The main highlight with what is going on, the overall theme to explain what's happening, is we have data cards that allow you to get certain buffs every single time your character gets a turn. Let's start off there. For example, we have this data card that says offensive buffs. Allied units gain offensive critical damage of and critical chance of for 1 turn at the start of their turn. Hold that thought. Let's keep it going. We also have another buff granting ability called defensive buffs. Allied units gain critical hit immunity, tenacity up, and defense up for 1 turn at the start of their turn. So right there, we're getting 6 buffs. Every single time a character is taking a turn, whoever it may be, they're getting buffs. All right, cool. What's the point? Why should I care? This is where the theory crafting gets to a whole other level, baby, because we have 2 sets of deployable cooling systems. A 1-dot, it is fairly cheap to get them. It's just a matter of, can you find them along your run? And with deployable cooling systems, whenever an allied unit gains a buff, there's a 10% chance that their cooldowns will be reduced by 1. And we have 2 of them. And when you're getting 6 buffs every single turn, you're basically getting 2 10% chances every single time. So when you have 6 buffs, you're getting 2 10% chances, 2 10% chances, 2 10% chances. Follow the pattern from there. And basically, the math just works out with probability every single time. We're using things like Merciless Massacre. Vader is able to constantly reset Merciless Massacre, and once he gets a turn, the opponents will never, ever, ever get ahead of you and try to finally catch up. And this is why I feel like this is incredibly important, as long as you have solid mods, like we talked about a moment ago, to make sure he goes first. And with the help of those speed boosters, for example, those injectors, it's going to help you make sure Vader gets out. And once Vader gets going, I don't care if you have a gear 11 Vader, gear 10 Vader, whatever the case might be, he is never going to stop taking turns. We just kept smashing AoE over and over again, and eventually they either just die off by his AoE, or we just start chucking coaling blades out there. Keeping it moving though. Besides the constant reduction of our cooldowns with these buffs that we're feeding to ourselves and constantly spamming Merciless Massacre or Yoda's AoE over and over again, the next important thing I want to bring up is the offensive aspect of this. Yes, we're getting buffs over and over again, but every time we're getting buffs every single turn, we're also increasing our damage through debuff dismantle. Whenever an allied unit gains a buff, well, that's happening every single turn. So long as there's no shock or buff immunity, they have a 30% chance to dispel all debuffs on themselves and gain 15% mastery, which is stacking. Holy cow. So Vader is taking back-to-back never-ending Merciless Massacre turns, getting tons of buffs. He is constantly increasing his mastery stats, which is increasing his offense. And also, we have a stacking offense data card right here, which allows you to get 5% offense stacking anytime an ally is gaining a buff. So when you're getting 6 buffs per turn, you can do the math every single time. Vader's damage was escalating. I think there was a point where we had nearly 1 billion damage on his Coaling Blade when we were going after an Enfys Nest. And this is another fun trick. You don't need this one. I don't think the most important thing is making sure you have the offensive buffs, defensive buffs, and the cooldown reduction data cards. Everything else is optional, but I feel like these really kind of build upon this heavy buff mechanic and these heavy cooldown reduction mechanics. We also have this right here where whenever an ally gains a buff, they're getting 2.5% turn meter. So when you come across these Jedi battles that we're going to run in a moment, Yoda is constantly feeding buffs over and over again, because again, he's reducing his cooldowns, and as he's feeding buffs to the rest of the team, they're also having their cooldowns being reduced over and over again. So there was times where we're making Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker constantly smash out his AoE stun. The buff mechanism is nice because that was how we were able to knock out, for example, the Mark V. Jedi Knight Revan getting tons and tons of opportunities to keep applying Mark, because every time he's taking a turn, his cooldowns are being reduced, and with all the buffs Yoda's feeding him, he's getting tons of extra turn meters. So I firmly believe, at first when we did normal, it's like, all right, there's a lot of great ideas. I firmly believe if you can get yourself defensive buffs, offensive buffs, and deployable cooling systems, you're going to take your roster extremely far inside of whether it be normal mode or hard mode. Hard mode, I thought you need a massive roster. We had Vader do about 50% of the battles easily. Then Yoda did like another 25%. That we didn't need any Galactic Legends. Yeah, we started using Galactic Legends towards the end because I was getting impatient, wanted to get the last few Conquest points to get the maximum crate. But these right here is going to help you knock out this game mode, and it was so much fun. I couldn't stop smiling. We were having so much dang fun. I love this Conquest game mode, and now I want to transition into the final bit of this conversation here. While you see this again, Commander Luke Skywalker constantly be able to do his call to action over and over again because he's getting buffs, and then Han Solo constantly able to do his special ability and go back to back to back, skrata, lighting up his opponents left and right. Pay close attention to this clip right here. We purposely had Enfys Nest be the last one standing. We got so many debuffs in her throughout the Culling Blade, and even if their bonus protection, Vader was able to just flick her off like the fly that she is sometimes. Conquest hard mode review. We already did a normal mode review. More or less, the feedback is the same compared to the video. So I don't want to spend too much time elaborating on it. But the most important thing, as I said, I love this game mode. But once we start trying to get those final conquest points to make sure we get the maximum crate, it got incredibly frustrating playing what we like to call Galaxy of Guessing. And you guys might know what I'm talking about, especially with boss feats. You have no idea how close you are to completing a boss feat. And I gotta say, we wasted about 2 to 3 possible energy refreshes solely because we're guessing how fast are the opponent's speeds. Let's get to that in a moment. But also, we're guessing how much turn meter did we remove, how much health did we regenerate inside of that particular battle. We really need a way to monitor boss feats. How close are we to knocking out these boss feats? And secondly, especially in hard mode, unlike normal mode, we didn't really fall into this problem in hard mode. Holy cow, once you get to sectors 4 and 5 especially, the speeds on the characters are insane that you are facing, and we're guessing how fast are these characters. Yes, sometimes they will be over prepared and we get a percentage point how much faster they're going to be, but we still need a concrete number that we can click on and say, all right, this character's gonna be 572 speed. At least you know what you're walking into. We played the guessing game so much and we ended up losing because the team would outrun us and we just have no concept of how fast these opponents were. Those are really the two main gripes that I had with this entire game. It's like that so incredibly frustrating that we're trying to get these last few points here and we're just playing this constant guessing game, losing energy, and it gives me that feeling very much so like Galactic Legends. When you're farming a Galactic Legends and you lose out on the tickets, it is a frustrating feeling to farm those tickets all over again. This is bringing it back, and I think it's a stupid thing to get frustrated over because it should be a very simple thing to address. Overall, difficulty level, I thought was fairly manageable. I have an 8.2 million GP roster, and I really didn't feel like I needed the whole entire thing. It was really key characters like Vader, Yoda, Jedi Knight Revan, for example, even Captain Rex. With this data card setup, he kept getting back-to-back aerial advantage turns out there. So I really think if you could try to put together these data cards, you don't need a massive roster. It will take some time to make sure you find the right data cards along the way. But once you finally get those deployable cooldown systems, as well as the defensive and offensive buffs, I think that is going to be the core chunk for you to make the most out of your roster. And that was the main reason why I wanted to make this video today, because I think that was the biggest takeaway in our day one testing of Conquest hard mode. Get these data cards. I firmly believe no matter what GP you have, you're going to take your roster as far as possible and dominate Conquest before you. Other than that, we will see what the rewards look like here. We got our rewards corrected for normal the other day, but so far it seems like if you want that short answer here. If you are looking for an answer, should you go for hard mode? If you're able to do normal mode fairly easily and you think you can get the first tier rewards in hard mode, I would say go for it. First tier wasn't that bad, but getting further and further, the data cards are going to be so important. Man, I gotta say one more time, I love this Conquest game. I'm hoping this isn't going to be a honeymoon phase and it's going to fade off. I really like this game. I think it's going to have a long-term, everlasting appeal, but we'll have to see. We have to get these minor issues addressed so the game mode doesn't get frustrating to play with towards the end. But otherwise, it is great seeing what true unlimited power can look like in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like if you did enjoy the video, comment down below on all your thoughts, and be sure to subscribe so you're not missing a thing. And dang, it's great to be in the Empire today.